Good day everyone, how are you doing? This is Yix here at Magnet Crypto, back again with another video. In this video we're going to be covering Bitcoin, Ethereum, and a little bit of a meme coin, DOGECOIN, and also we're going to be covering some very important news, especially regarding Ethereum. So stick around and let's get the show on the road. So let's first start with Bitcoin. Now I mentioned something about what I've noticed about Bitcoin, and that's the fact that it looks like it's in a falling wedge chart pattern. So you've got this lower trend line here, which I spotted today, and this upper trend line, which I've mentioned previously, acting as resistance. And they're both sloping downwards, creating this falling wedge formation. By the way, link for that is in the description if you want to join my private Telegram group. So a falling wedge, if it is the case, we need to see some further rejections of this upper trend line, is a perfect chart pattern, as it's a bit of a pause between an uptrend. It's a bullish pattern, price slowly descending or correcting before the continuation of the prior trend. So it's really looking like this chart pattern. We could have a fake out somewhere around here. As mentioned, this Fibonacci, which is in play, it could easily go down to 25,000. There's a lot of price action around 25, 26, and 27. So we could see a massive wick to the downside, or even a daily candle closure to these levels. But I do expect, maybe in February or late February, coming into March perhaps, for this to be broken and this to break to the upside, for us to continue this trend up until 50,000. So this is looking very interesting. As I always mention in my private Telegram group, and to anyone that asks, don't try to time the bottom. If you try to time the bottom, you're going to end up missing out on Bitcoin at these prices. Now bear in mind, when Bitcoin was going 35, 40 to 42, people were very anxious to buy because they didn't want to miss out on the further action. But these times there's a lot less buyers in the market trying to get Bitcoin at these prices. But this is the exact time where you want to average in your buys. So do make a note of that. I myself have been averaging in more buys, not Bitcoin, but altcoins throughout this correction, as these are the best times to get in. So that's what Bitcoin is saying at the moment. It's price action. We could see a rise to the top of this trend, perhaps to 34 to 35k, and then we could see further bounces in between. But I'm watching this chart pattern very closely to see that it is respecting it. So far, so good. Moving over to Ethereum. So another thing that I've mentioned in my private Telegram group is that Ethereum looks to be in this broadening wedge, somewhat of a channel, upwards channel formation. You've got this upper trend line and this lower trend line. It's not quite a classic broadening wedge, as it would be a lot more wider, but still it's respecting these two trend lines very well. And another thing, in the last day, it's actually the midpoint of this chart pattern is using it as support at the moment, around 1,240. So if it can actually close on the green, then that would be a very bullish sign. But also this resistance level over here, around 1,380 or about 1,400. If we can actually close above this resistance level, that would be a very, very bullish indication. And then on top of that, once we close above this upper trend line connecting these peaks, I think that's when we'll truly see Ethereum rocket to new highs properly, the way Bitcoin has done in the last few months. So far, it's wicked quite a few times above this trend line, but it's not closed above it. It's just been a few, Ethereum is just playing a few games with us. It's not actually closing properly above it and rocketing to the upside. So a few tricks that have been played. But speaking about Ethereum, this is the article that I want to talk about, which could be the catalyst which sends Ethereum to absolutely new highs. This is the catalyst that we need. Although long term it might not be good, but let's have a look at this catalyst. And that is the fact that Ethereum Futures trading begins in February. I think February 8th is the date. But as mentioned, explosive move could be on the horizon. This is exactly what happened to Bitcoin when it blew its top off to 20,000. So in late 2017, Bitcoin futures began trading. The introduction pushed the price of the leading token into the stratosphere and to over $20,000 per token for the first time. The potential for an explosive move in Ethereum could be only days away. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange, also known as the CME, is the world's leading derivatives marketplace. The CME is awaiting a regulatory approval for listing Ethereum futures on February the 8th, 2021. The regulatory issue is likely moot as the exchange currently lists a regulated Bitcoin contract, so it's likely to be approved. Likely, but not guaranteed. Obviously, we have to wait until that actually happens. Everyone knows how long we were waiting for this ETF of Bitcoin to come in, just around late 2017. Did not happen, and it did not happen for the next 2 years after that. So we do need to wait for actual confirmation before we get too excited. However, we all know the effect that these contracts had, the futures had on Bitcoin. So we can, with a reasonable assumption, guess, or reasonable certainty, guess that it's going to have a positive effect on Ethereum, because what it does is allows a lot more traders, stock market traders, to all the futures traders to all gain access to Ethereum, and this would increase its liquidity, and thus it could really pump up its price. The only negative, or quite a big negative, is of course we know what happened to Bitcoin after futures contracts started late 2017, and that's that it blew up in price. However, it crashed straight after that, so it could have a short-term positive effect but a long-term negative effect. So we have to be careful, of course, not to over leverage on any cryptocurrency or any of these investments, because they could at any point always go south. So of course be careful of that. Another very, very interesting article, important update from Grayscale. They're preparing to add some filings for some DeFi coins, and those cryptocurrencies are now what they are saying is they're preparing for potential listings of these cryptocurrencies, but it's not guaranteed that they're going to add them. They're just proposing these cryptos to add to their already large portfolios. So we've got Aave, Polkadot, Cosmos, Cardano, and Monero. So this is very, very bullish for obviously these coins. It could have a similar effect of Coinbase listing a coin, although probably not as close to that. But because Grayscale buys in such massive bulks, again, this could really give it a push forward. Now, of course, I've mentioned Cosmos of it, but Polkadot, of course, I mentioned many times. I think out of those cryptocurrencies, Polkadot probably is the most likely to get listed, as well as Cardano and Atom. Personally, I don't know too much about Aave, so I cannot speak on that. But Polkadot is probably the highest amongst, because it's very closely linked to Ethereum. The co-founder of Ethereum was the founder of Polkadot. And also in terms of the project dynamics, it's similar. It's a platform where you can build dApps on. So I think Polkadot has a high chance of being listed. If it does get listed on Grayscale and they start buying it in bulk, of course it's going to have a huge effect on Polkadot. Maybe, actually, let me take that back. Maybe not as big, because they're not going to buy it to the same extent as they would Bitcoin, but they will still buy a fairly large amount, relatively speaking. So this is very, very bullish to see. Grayscale often leads the way in terms of institutions buying up coins, so this could again set the the path for other hedge funds and institutions to buy DeFi coins. Very, very bullish. Last but not least, we'll look at an article regarding Michael Saylor, and he mentions that Bitcoin could easily go up by a factor of 1,000 or 100 or 1,000, and that's because it's not because of the technicals. He says it's because if Bitcoin is a digital monetary network, and if enough people with money and power decide to adopt it, it's gonna go up and increase by a factor of 100 or 1,000 or 1,000, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. Now he's very, very correct, because obviously the amount of money available in the world, trillions and trillions, and so if people decide that have a lot of money and that have power to decide, okay, Bitcoin is a good store of value, we want to park more money in there, we want to use it as a monetary, digital monetary system, then of course the value of it is going to go up exponentially. Is that going to happen? We don't know. Of course, people like Michael Saylor saying this gives it definitely a thumbs up, but we'll have to see as time goes on. One thing is for sure, if you're not in the game, you're going to be missing out on all the gains. So, that's that. And last but not least, we're going to cover just a quick cover of a meme coin. DOGECOIN is absolutely exploding. This is one of crypto's favorite meme coins because it has absolutely no use case, and yet it explodes in value every now and then. The good thing about this is it's like an altcoin indicator. Whenever DOGECOIN explodes, often altcoins tend to follow. It's a weird kind of altcoin indicator. If we have a quick look at it, now I would never recommend actually investing. Well, I'm not going to say I wouldn't recommend investing in it, because if you invest at the right time, you could make it easy 2x, 3x. As you can see now, in literally one day, it's gone up 273%, smashing all-time highs. It's absolutely insane. So if you parked a little bit of money in there at any of these points, that would have been a very, very nice profit. But of course, you don't keep your money in DOGECOIN, because it can retrace very, very significantly in a short space of time. So it's not very safe to keep it in there. That'll be all for this video. Very important update regarding Ethereum, especially. This could really, really be the catalyst that's going to send Ethereum into the stratosphere. But again, there's the danger to it in terms of it could get shorted very quickly, just how Bitcoin did at the end of 2017, start of 2018. So good and bad news. And Grayscale, of course, very, very bullish. They're going to set the standard for hedge funds investing in crypto. More mainstream hedge funds are going to follow, I'm sure. So I hope you got some value from that, and see you in the next video. Peace.